Let's go ahead and get things started. Again, my name is Bob Atkins. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the Dean of Admission at WJ College. We're very excited to have you folks here today with us. Tonight, we're joined by two panelists, two great student and alumni panelists, as well as a current faculty and staff member. And we're excited to tell you a little bit more about what WJ does to take a student from the classroom to their career and how we prepare graduates for life after WJ. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get things started. I promise that we will leave time at the end for an open mic for you to give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. But if you're like me and you have a burning question that you just have to get out right now, go ahead and put it in the chat. I promise we'll get to answer all those questions at the end of the evening in the chat, or if not, during the course of the evening as we answer questions. So if there's something you want to know, please let us know. There's no such thing as a bad question as we get started. Let's go ahead and introduce our panelists. I'm going to start with Dr. Felix. Dr. Felix, I'm going to ask you to provide your full name to our audience, your title, how many years you've been at W&J, and the favorite aspect of your career. Dr. Felix.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Vivian Felix. My title is Associate Dean of Students and Director of the Center for Professional Pathways. I joined the college in 21, so it will be 5 years this July, which I'm really excited about. And my favorite aspect of my career is working with students, now alumni, and I'm excited that you'll get to hear from them directly yourselves.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our alums. We've got two great ones here. Let's start with Matthias. Matthias, if you could tell us your full name, your grad year, your majors and/or minors academic programs you were involved in, where you work, your current position, and then I'm going to save the next question to the very end. So go ahead, take it away, Matthias.
Okay. Well, that's enough. Let's see if I can remember it all. So my name's Matthias Hurst. I graduated in 2024 from W&J. My major was Spanish. I was on the pre-health track, though, so that was a big bulk of my studies there. I also had minors in biomedical science and health and society. And then right now, I'm currently a master's student, a graduate student at West Virginia University, studying exercise physiology. So I have a position there in a research lab, but I'm also getting my master's at the same time.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm eager to tap into your expertise tonight. So stand prepared, get ready, okay? Gage, I'm going to ask you the exact same question. So your full name, your grad year, just to remind you, majors and minors, where you work, your current position, and again, I'll save the next question till the end.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, I'm Gage Watson. I graduated W&J last year, 2025, with majors in environmental studies and psychology, and I also have a minor in conflict resolution studies. And I currently work in human resources at Connective RX.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so if you're ready, let's go ahead and get things started. So my first question is for Dr. Felix, and that's, Dr. Felix, what is the mission for the Center for Professional Pathways, and what do you and your team do to work to how do you achieve that mission?
So our mission is really to support students with their career and professional readiness. We do that by focusing on student development from the point of matriculation right up until graduation and beyond, because we do support alumni as well. We really think of our approach as holistic and being a curated set of progressive experiences. So we're meeting students where they are from academic year to academic year. And this work looks like, in practice, the transaction that students see. So yes, we do help students with their resumes and cover letters, but we do a lot more. We think of ourselves as career advisors, and that work is focused on helping students understand how to earn money, how to grow money, and how to keep money. And a lot of folks forget about the importance of financial literacy when they think about the work of a center focused on career and professional readiness. We also have students to build their professional competencies and confidence. So it's a lot of championing of students and a lot of connecting students to employers out in the field. So whether your major is communication arts or neuroscience or environmental science, we meet students where they are, help them understand their interests, explore their interests, and connect it to the real world of work.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sounds like you have a lot on your plate.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. So these students are going to get to W&J this fall, and they're going to hear about our PREX requirement. So what is a PREX requirement? Why is it important? And what are the things students can do to fulfill that requirement?
So PREX stands for a practical experience requirement. We know that students should be curating as many experiences as possible in order to grow their confidence and grow their skill set for the world of work. But sometimes it's hard to carve out the time, energy, and bandwidth and wrap your mind around it. So what we now can promise to all students and their loved ones is that 100% of all students will complete at least one applied learning experience. And that applied learning experience is the PREX, or the practical experience requirement. And what it is an internship or internship-like experience that is made up of at least 40 hours of direct on-site experience in the world of work. It can be on campus or off campus. So on campus, it might look like a leadership opportunity. It could look like serving as a writing tutor. It could look like certain on-campus jobs. And off campus, it would be on-site with the employer. We call it an internship or internship-like because we know that applied learning can and should look different based on industry. So if your student is a future performing artist, maybe at the Benedum if you're local, then an internship-like experience would look like curating their own show and maybe get an experience on stage or backstage. If your student is a budding science researcher, they will probably want to work in a bench lab, and that would make the most sense. So internship or internship-like in that it is practical and it's designed to help them understand a certain applied learning setting and explore that world of work. It's preferred if it be tied to their major, but we know that students often need to explore. So this PREX can be completed at any point prior to graduation. It is a graduation requirement, so they must do it before graduation. So whether it's in their first year as an exploratory experience or a junior year or senior experience, really cementing what it is that they want to do, that is the true value of the PREX. What we know is that the deep value of it for the student is that they gain a work experience. And the deep value to the student who's thinking about graduation is they can say, I understand the field and here is my professional experience. And so that is how we know the PREX, the practical experience requirement, will serve them well.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So W&J is fortunate. We have around 16,000 living alums, and a sizable percentage of them still live in and around Western Pennsylvania. So we're fortunate to be able to call upon those alums. Can you tell us a little bit more about the active role that they play in helping current W&J students achieve PREX or to get professional positions once they graduate? How do they help our students?
The hallmark of the W&J experience is really community and its connection. And what the Center for Professional Pathways does is connect students to the community. So alumni are visible and active remotely and in person. And I say remotely first because if you maybe are based in California, so not in Southwestern Pennsylvania, then you might be thinking, how does a college like W&J, a small private liberal arts college in Southwestern Pennsylvania, serve my student who is from California or maybe Texas or Chicago? And like Dean Atkins said, our alumni are all over the country. So some alumni are actively serving as mentors remotely or in person, really answering questions about what a particular industry is like. How do I navigate college better? How do I think about identifying a career of choice? Alumni are also present on campus to serve as mentors, but also to connect students to opportunities. So how do I interview better? So alumni are here present on campus to hold mock interviews for students, to review student resumes, to let them know what openings are available in their company or other companies of interest, to host interns, and to engage in informational interviews. One of our newer partnerships that we have in partnership with alumni is the Summer on the Cuyahoga internship program. That is Cuyahoga in Cleveland, Ohio. And it facilitates to students a network of paid internship opportunities during the summer. So for students looking to gain an experience in Cleveland, or maybe they're from Cleveland and want a summer internship experience in Cleveland, alumni can do that. We've worked with alumni as well to connect students to internships abroad. So last summer, we were able to help students complete an internship in Denmark and in Germany. So nothing is off the table as long as students are thinking creatively and are open to different kinds of opportunities. So yes, it's 100% true that because we are based in Southwestern Pennsylvania, the bulk of opportunities are in Southwestern Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio. But that's certainly not a barrier. We certainly have clusters of students heading outbound down south, East Coast, West Coast, wherever they desire. We know that we can talk with employers directly and most importantly, connect with alumni who know about openings, are willing to host that student and be a friendly ear and a champion with those connections.
Wow, that sounds like a great opportunity for our students to take advantage of. And I know that many of them do that. So that's awesome. So, Matthias, I'm going to start with you, but Gage, I'm going to loop you into this question as well. What was your personal and professional development journey at W&J like, both in the classroom and outside the classroom? How did you choose what activities to get involved in? How did all that lead you to where you are now? And we'll start with Matthias.
Yeah. So I'll start with outside the classroom, kind of taking it from a perspective of basing it off of where I am now. So like I said, I work in a lab, I work in a research lab. And if you would have asked me a couple of years ago if I would have ever seen myself in this position, it would have 100% been a no from me. But kind of based off of what Dr. Felix was talking about with the Prex experience, when I was at W&J, it wasn't a requirement. But when she was talking about it, I kept thinking about how after my sophomore year, I think it was, I had an internship at W&J in the neuroscience department. And it was basically just an experience like Dr. Felix was describing. So it was all that hands-on bench work, lab work, which was applicable to me as a pre-health student. But that was like the really big, I would say, leap for me. Before that point, my first 2 years, I started with COVID, and so I didn't necessarily have in-person experiences too much, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in the lab working with those typical lab skills and all those things. So it really was for me not just an opportunity to gain lab experience and techniques that I still use today in the lab, but it was more so I think a confidence builder. And I still tell people to this day that that experience kind of really put me, I think, in a new position in terms of my confidence and my abilities. And I felt applying to where I am now, I felt very prepared because I knew that Dr. Lord, the professor that I worked with at W&J, had taken the time to meet with me and all the other students in that internship and have us work as a small group very dynamically. And no matter the level we were at, so for me, being kind of inexperienced at the start, she was very helpful and amenable and able to really um, get me into a position that gave me confidence in the lab and with my skills. So I would say that was one of the big professional development things there. I also wanted to highlight that the summer after my junior year, I completed what was called a Magellan project at W&J. And that also, I think, for me was, again, a confidence builder, but it really helped to hone my interests and stuff. So I'm currently applying to medical school, and I would love to pursue a type of medicine that's very holistic and inclusive of all aspects of health. And that Magellan project was centered around nutritional differences in different parts of the country. And so it really was like a light bulb moment for me of oh, this is maybe, nutrition and diet and stuff like that is very um, something that we need to kind of work on a lot in this country. And that experience really gave me the confidence and I think the skills and the knowledge to know about the current nutritional patterns in America, and to know that a lot of them need to be changed. And so I'm very thankful for that opportunity. It was fully funded, and it was a great experience to just learn about those current nutritional patterns and um, just help me to explore what my interests were at that point, and obviously that has shaped where I am now. So.
Sorry, I said Matthias. I'm going to come back to that answer about the Magellan, but I'm going to move on to Gage just temporarily. Gage, exact same question or questions, because I did ask
Yeah.
more than one. I do apologize now. I will do that quite often tonight, but
Yeah.
Take your shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Matthias. I I was started as an undecided student, but I was going into W&J wanting to change the world for like sustainability, and so I majored in environmental science and began to dip my toes into several different clubs, including student government, student Christian association, the theater group, and outdoors club. And I spent my underclassmen years really taking advantage of those social circles and friendships. I also did a Magellan project my sophomore year in Sweden, exploring like, sustainability and culture. And like I did have one on-campus job as a PAL tutor or peer assistant learning tutor for the environmental studies department that reinforces key study skills and just knowing how to comprehend the material that's being put in front of them, especially in such an eclectic and diverse curriculum like the EVS program. And then I got an internship at a nonprofit further in Northwest PA, really focused on like community resilience and clean energy, and that has been very helpful. And that also has counted for my environmental studies capstone project. And that took a lot of communication between the founder of said nonprofit and then the director of the program and one of my advisors. And then I also looked at I had a couple friends from Duquesne who started their own business in food waste management, and I spent a few months like working alongside them, developing their product too. And um, overall, I think in my current role now, I got through just more conversations and networks that I've just met like throughout these different years of W&J. And I think it definitely took a lot of initiative on my end. And there's even like people with majors, you're not always going to be handed the solution, but but I think um, like the college really encouraged me to like spread my wings a bit and to just think big and differently about like what a good career and just general life is going to look like.
That's a great answer. So I'm going to push both of you a little bit about the Magellan Project. Tell us how you came up with what you wanted to do, and how did it affect you? Were you the same person once you completed the Magellan? And we'll start with you, Gage, since we're on you already.
Yes. So, like I said, I'm pretty passionate about sustainability, and I was looking at some of the top green leaders in the world, and Sweden was up there, and I really wanted to know um, why are they doing so well and like setting an example for the rest of us to model, but also like how's their way of life and culture like influencing like that sustainability lifestyle. It's not just something you decide to implement, but it's something you carry with you. And it really opened my eyes to see not just the technicalities of things regarding certain legislation and certain like like scientific practices with like water filtration and other like pollution control and emissions regulations, but also um, like like their stance on their own national parks and public transit, and even like their own artists. And I think it definitely opened my eyes to really see everything new. And also I've never been in a place in a world where the sunlight was going on for 17 hours of the day. That definitely changed my perspective of things, that I really knew, man, I'm in a different place. And I think that not only did it bring me like I got a lot of stories and memories out of it, but also it just served a lot of good conversation points for like my then employer to talk about, like saying like, okay, if you gained all these cool insights from this different country, like what can you like how can you add this into like your brainstorming and everything. And so it really helped me like think outside the box in that regard.
Perfect. Okay, Matthias, same question. How did you come up with your Magellan, and were you different after you completed it?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know about it too much until my junior year. I wish I would have known about it and engaged in the concept earlier, because I would have done it after all 3 summers, if I could have. But the world really is your oyster, and like W&J sets no limits on what you can do. Essentially, like you can go anywhere you'd like. And so for me, I I knew I wanted to do it, but I wasn't adventurous enough as Gage, I would say, in terms of wanting to go internationally. So I wanted to stay within the country. But like I said, I knew that nutrition and that holistic kind of health was the route I wanted to go. Originally, I was thinking of exploring like different exercise patterns in different areas of the country. But then the faculty advisor for the Magellan Project kind of helped me hone it in, and we decided that the nutritional patterns would probably be a little more um, objective and able to be studied a little more objectively. So we went with that. And that's why I came up with the concept. And then, of course, 100%, I was a completely different person after. I had never really traveled solo like that, like completely on my own, for parts of it, and that was really, I think, just a way to grow as a person in terms of independence and in terms of confidence. Um, but I think it just set me apart in terms of, like Gage was saying, like if I were to, when I went to my current employer, my current advisor for my program, like that's something that I was able to talk about that I don't know of any other schools that really offer a similar program. So, and I still bring it up, you know, in interviews and stuff, like applying to medical school now, that's something that still sets me apart, that I was able to apply for this travel experience and craft it myself and go on it myself and meet with all these medical professionals and make all these connections. So I think it just sets me apart as a student, as an applicant, but just as a person, as someone who kind of is able to bring a different experience, an uncommon experience. Um, and so it definitely changed me in that respect. And then on just a more humanistic level too, I think learning about the nutritional patterns and the unfortunate state of a lot of areas in our country, it definitely increased my compassion and my humility, learning about some college campuses, like a lot of students not really having enough money to even afford a meal plan, like something that we take for granted a lot of times. So it really just opened my heart and my mind to appreciate and take a moment to step back and realize that um, there's a lot of things that we need to do to help, you know, other people that we, for things that we just take advantage or take for granted. So just on a more personal note, I think that was also very heart wrenching at sometimes, but also just something that it was a blessing to be able to learn about that. And again, another experience that I can add to my past that I can kind of use to have compassion and, you know, as a hopefully a future medical professional, as a way that I can connect better with patients.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Gage, how thankful are you for the flexibility of W&J within our academic curriculum? It allowed you to sort of explore and ultimately determine a career path as late as your senior year, when other schools that might not have been able to happen. So, how did you turn the flexibility to your advantage?
Yeah, I mean, from the get-go, I had a lot of interests, and it was hard to hone in on a singular thing. And plus, environmental studies itself carries multiple different disciplines. And I know I took note that there's like different breadth requirements that you just have to take things that are like, you know, logical classes, behavioral, literary, so some things like that, so that way you can get your feet wet in all these different areas. And there are definitely a couple classes and semesters where I was a bit worried if I could complete this major in time, or maybe that maybe a few bumps in the road. But I think it allowed me to help bounce back in things. And I added psychology as a dual major because I think it allowed me to, it was a good pair for me who wanted to go into the sustainability world, but more on like a business and like people oriented aspect rather than like being in a lab. And I think, and even too, there's many majors like overlap in terms of like similar courses taken. So I know for me and a few of my other friends, if if it turns out like these classes, oh man, they've already taken 3 classes of this major, you could easily switch or add on that additional major into that. And I think that can really make sure that like I'm on track to graduate, and it that as opposed to like some other bigger schools where it would have been, okay, you were halfway through this major and now you have to completely reverse engineer this new career thing to graduate in there. So I think it's pretty versatile. And also, the professors talk to each other all the time. They're all friends. I spent most of my classes in Dieter Porter Life Sciences building, where it's home to the biology departments and the psychology departments. So yeah, most of my time was there. And so just getting to interact with everybody there, I think it made it easier to say that even though like my trajectory veered off a little bit, it's still I was still supported and accountable, and made sure that I would be in a good place for graduation.
Yeah, that's all. That sort of mirrors my experience. I was a biology major at W&J, so I spent a lot of time in Dieter Porter, and it felt like by the end of or maybe halfway through my second semester, I knew every professor in that building, even if I had taken them in class. Did you feel the same way?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so Matthias, I'm going to ask you very quickly, and I'm going to come back to you with the same question, Gage. But one of the common threads that ties all of us together, so recent alums, older alums like myself, current students like my son, future students, 10, 15 years down the road, is the fact that we all have a story or two that we can share about a relationship we had with a professor that helped us build professional readiness or prepared us for an internship or a career. It sounds like both of you have been affected pretty strongly by a relationship you might have had with a professor. Do you mind sharing a quick story with us? And I'll start with Gage.
Hi. Yeah. So I think I've had 5 different advisors in the past. My first year seminar advisor, who Dr. Klitz, who was also in the psychology department, made it pretty easy for me to add that major on there. And he was really insightful and encouraged me to really spread get all these experiences and just to think with a broader worldview. Dr. March in the biology department, they definitely encouraged me to do a Magellan. I think he is one of the biggest cheerleaders for studying abroad possible. Dr. East has been really good. I've taken a lot of classes with him, and yeah, definitely helped me out with the capstone, and even even showed me different opportunities in Washington County, with Center for Coalfield Justice and other things in Washington County that's going on in the environmental world. And then I had a professor who doesn't work at the college anymore, but she was really impressed by just the different courses and experiences I was taking here. And even though she works in a completely different state at a different college now, she's even still in keeping in touch with me and just making sure that I'm all right and things are developing well, which I think is really cool to think that that it extends beyond just the college walls. So all of them are fantastic people.
That's awesome. That's Matthias. The floor is yours.
So freshman year, it's a funny story. Like I said, I was remote my first semester, so I took classes online. And I lived, my parents live, about 15 minutes or so from campus, but I was going on a run one afternoon, and all of a sudden I see this man going for a walk. And he looked familiar, because I had seen a lot of people from campus virtually thus far. And so all of a sudden we kind of made eye contact, and we were like, is that who I think it is? And sure enough, I stopped, and it was my chemistry professor. So even just being able to see each other virtually, like we are now, we were able to recognize each other, and it was just crazy. So Dr. Leonard is his name, and he's one of the chemistry professors. But he was someone throughout all 4 of my years that I stayed close to. Obviously, freshman year, I had him both semesters for my organic chemistry classes. And during that time, he was extremely supportive as a professor in terms of the content, but even just helping me to grow as a person and hone my study skills and my abilities there. And then he was also the professor that acted as my advisor for the Magellan Project when I was between junior and senior year. So our relationship strengthened then because we spent a lot of time discussing the topic of my project, how to best carry that out. And then another thing I did with him too, and Gage had mentioned this before, was I was a PAL tutor, a peer tutor for the chemistry department. So I got to re-attend the organic chemistry lectures my junior year, as if it wasn't enough my freshman year. But I got to re-attend the lectures with him 3 times a week. And so I got to just to experience that with him. And so we really worked closely there because we were discussing how to best present the content to students and do so in a way that would help them to feel comfortable coming to me as a tutor and knowing how to ask the questions and best to answer those questions. so he's someone that I've kept in touch with, and when I go home and to my parents' house, I still try to look for him sometimes because him and his wife love to go for walks. Not that I don't want to reveal too much information about him, but he loves to go for walks. So he is someone that I've kept in touch with. Academically, he guided me, and then in terms of those specific positions as a tutor and then as a Magellan Scholar. But then just as a honestly, just as a friend, like I think something that a lot of the professors really want is for you to feel that you have connections and that you have people that support you, as Dr. Felix alluded to before. I feel like it really is a community. And I know that's cliche for a lot of people to say, but like um, I still feel that connection to the professors, and even coming onto this call with Dr. Felix, and she was someone that I worked with a lot for my Magellan project, or even Gage in the Student Christian Association, like all these connections that you make with people that really never go away. And I think W&J, just when I think about it, it's really just a community of people that really all want to stick together. So he is a professor that I really, really felt a strong connection to. Another one, though, that was my advisor legitimately was Dr. Turnez in the Spanish department. And she just helped me, I think, grow in terms of my Spanish knowledge, but also in terms of my community service was a big thing that she really honed in with me. She worked, I'm not sure if she still does, but she used to work with a local community center teaching Spanish to local students. Elementary school age and such. And so I really got in with that program with her, and I started to help her prep materials for it, but then of course go in person and actually teach those students. So in terms of on top of our academic relationship of her being my advisor and guiding me through my capstone, and I see everyone's talking about that in the chat and stuff. My capstone, I worked with her. But on top of that, she really was able to just help me grow outside the classroom and experience new environments, new communities, um, in a way that really I think helped me to become more diverse and appreciative of diverse communities. And of course, just put the skills that I learned in the classroom, my Spanish knowledge, to practice teaching young students. And tutoring is still something that I do, and I really attribute that desire to tutor young students to her, because she really instilled in me that love and that passion to carry on and to continue to provide the knowledge that I got to a future generation of students so that they can have the same knowledge and the same passion as well.
Giving back to the community is a large part of who we are at W&J, so I'm very, very pleased to hear that. So we've heard a lot recently in the last year or two about the tough job market for college graduates and how hard it is to get into graduate programs. And yet the two of you seem to have defied those odds. And so why do you think that is? You know, what is it about W&J graduates that perhaps give you a slight edge compared to some of your peers from other colleges? And we'll start with Matthias with this question.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying that the academics definitely put you above and beyond everyone else. For my current position as a student still, I know that applying to graduate positions and master's programs in medical school, I think a lot of students are like, oh my gosh, how am I going to fare in these programs? And of course, I still, get nervous, like, oh, I know the classes are going to be hard and stuff, but I can honestly say that the W&J's curriculum, particularly that pre-med track that I did, prepared me just above and beyond, I think, for a lot of the things that I've done. Like I've taken the graduate level classes I've taken. Some of them almost felt like a review at some points because W&J was just that advanced and that in depth in terms of the knowledge and the classes and the content they provided. And a lot of my friends that are taking the classes as graduate students, there was a lot of struggling, and not to, I'll brag for W&J here. They didn't necessarily offer exercise physiology classes in particular, and that's the program I'm in now. But a lot of my friends that were ex-phys majors in undergrad, I feel like they struggled a lot more even than I did, just because of W&J's solid science background. So only good things to say about that. But then more overall and more general as a person, I think W&J just gives you a personality trait that, or just a personality and a demeanor of compassion. Back to that community service that I was saying, like Mr. Adkins was saying, it's just tied into the curriculum. It's tied into the program that W&J provides. And I think that's something that a job market today really looks for, is applicants who are genuine in the desire to give back and genuine in the desire to be passionate about that. And I know for me that that's something that's true in my life, and it's because of W&J. It's because of the opportunities that those professors connected me to. Um, like for instance, I do another volunteering opportunity virtually where I visit with senior citizens who are living alone, and that's something that one of the W&J professors actually started me at, and I still do it now, years later. And it's something that again you become passionate about, and it's because of the commitment that those professors have to community service themselves that they instill that same desire in us as students, and then we can go to those applicant or to those employers or programs or whatever we're applying to and just be authentic in that. So yeah, just to sum up, I would say the academics are a huge part of it, but then just the mindset of being service based and being committed and being passionate is something that is just embedded into the curriculum of W&J, and I think that is really what sets us apart too. Um, Wherever we go, whether it be pre-health or with Gage in environmental studies.
Gage?
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's just we have a lot of time to really prepare for it. I think that is something that is frequently brought up in almost every department about thinking about, okay, like when your next career and everything. And sometimes sometimes classes will bring in on special guests to share their experiences, or if you go to any class field trips or conferences, either like in or outside of the classroom, I think is a big key. And just keeping a collection of business cards you get from like the people that you can bump into is really, really important. How I wound up in HR from a largely environmental background and psychology. Honestly, I met somebody at a booth at a conference, and we emailed, and then I had to see the Center for Professional Pathways to prepare my interview and really make sure that I stick the landing in that. And thankfully I did. And also, I think even there are some events like that are just on on campus that aren't even affiliated to a particular program, but you can just go for yourselves of just kind of learning from those different people. And I think the more that students can lean into those, the better, because that just attending one of those and really following up with these people just proves that you're not just going through the motions in college, but that you actually want to be here. And I think I love what Matthias said about W&J being like a personality trait, because when it comes to people outside of the bubble, they either recognize W&J, know what it is, or they have no idea what W&J is, and you have to just be W&J for them. And if they see that, oh man, this student is pretty good, then that can just show for the college there. And also, I got to W&J in the first place because one of my English teachers in high school attended W&J, and so I got a pretty good first impression from him. And so it just goes to show it's a small world when it comes to the school here.
You're absolutely correct. It's a very small world. So thank you both. Those are fantastic answers. Dr. Felix, I hope you didn't think we're going to forget about you, because we got some other questions for you coming down the pike. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, awesome. So what would you say are the character traits you routinely see in our students, in our student body, that you and your staff aim to refine, aim to hone, aim to strengthen over the 4 years the students are here at W&J, so they're professionally ready when they graduate from our college? What are you looking for? What do you do to them? How do you help them enter the workforce with the confidence that Gage and Matthias are showing us tonight?
Well, it's interesting because now going into what will be my sixth academic year this fall, I know Gage and Matthias personally, so that's really interesting for me. And what I will say is that all W&J students lack the ability to articulate why they are leaders when they are a student. And all W&J students lack a certain degree of confidence in believing that they can do whatever it is that they want to do out in the professional world. We call that imposter syndrome. And so our goal alongside their faculty advisors and for those students who are student athletes is to really work alongside the student to develop their sense of confidence, their sense of truly understanding who they are in the world, so their authentic selves, and to anchor their dreams to career action plans. And so far to think specifically about skills that all students have that they then revise and refine through 8 semesters at the college through their coursework. It's leadership, and critical thinking skills and technology. There are several career readiness and professional readiness competencies, but those three stand out to me for 3 reasons. One, students today are digital natives. So unlike me and maybe Dean Atkins, we have not always had technology doing things, talking to us, interacting with us. And certainly I can boldly say we did not grow up with AI as we know it today. And so what I know of students today is that they are very comfortable with technology. They understand how to use it. They're mostly comfortable using it, but they don't necessarily think about how to leverage it in the professional world. So what is the technology of the industry? How can it make you efficient, but also not replaceable? And so we work with students to understand the expectations of the industry and to research and make informed decisions about what might be coming down the pike. Second, all students have critical thinking skills, but they kind of miss out on understanding how to articulate their critical thinking skills. Somehow, before they have one-on-one coaching sessions with their advisor and or with a Center for Professional Pathways team member, they will say, even up to senior year, if we haven't met with them multiple times, I don't have any critical thinking skills, or yes, I do have them, but I can't think of an example right now. So that ability to quickly respond to tell me about yourself, give me an example of how you've thought outside the box. That is what we do with students. So we help them practice that through mock interviews and thinking about their narrative, their brand. So what is it that you've done and what is the story behind what you've done that connects to this possible graduate school opportunity, this possible fellowship, and this possible full-time job? And leadership. So all of our students are leaders. They all demonstrate leadership when they are showing up to class on time, turning in assignments on time. They're out on the field for our intramural and student athletes, and they are joining as members of a club and ultimately growing to take on a leadership role on a project, an event, or maybe the entire organization. But they need to understand how to talk about leadership and not just say, I'm a leader because I was in the accounting society, or I'm a leadership because I'm a member of Delta Gamma. Instead, what we help them talk about is I am a leader because I led 15 students on 2 direct service projects domestically and abroad. So that level of specificity and that level of competence and talking and confidence in talking about what they have done, that is the value proposition that we add so that students not only know that they are leaders and know that they understand technology and know that they have critical thinking skills, but that they can talk about it in a very real and specific way in conversation if they're networking, and of course, in the interviews that we know they will all have once they graduate from here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So just a couple more questions for you. I'm going to direct the first one to Gage and the second one to Matthias. So for Gage, from where you were as a high school senior to where you are now, did you make the right choice? Was W&J the right place for you?
Yes, I can confidently say it was the right choice. I think I had a few schools in mind as I was applying and touring schools, and I think overall it is definitely a unique experience. I mean, just touring a campus is very different than actually living in it and experiencing the life and culture that's there. And it definitely grew on me over the years. And I think I know I have many of my close friends from college there, and I know that I think it's just a very tight knit community that just people are very generous in many different ways of like giving back to the school and just other like investing in the lives of the students, and it's been really cool. And yeah, I think WJ just kind of gave me the freedom to just, you know, like I already know who I am and what I can do. It's a matter of like they can like they have so many resources. It's unbelievable just to actually equip you in making your journey like better.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And for Matthias, um, for the family whose student is on the fence about W&J, we're in their top 2 or 3 choices. They're trying to figure out, where they want to go, what they want to do. What would you tell them to do right now that could help them feel more comfortable in their student's final decision?
I would say visit the campus in person. Um, I think I remember when I walked on campus for the first time with my parents, and it was just like, everyone always had talked about W&J, like, oh, it's just such a special place. It's such a special, and to a senior in high school or whatever, that's just like, oh, that's cute. Like, but then you actually, like, I remember I went and I was like, oh wait, like I still remember that day vividly. Like I remember where we started. We started in the library. We went to Dieter Porter. Then we went to Swanson. Like I remember the order of it because I was so enthralled with just every person I met was genuinely interested in me, and I hadn't even committed or enrolled in the college yet. So I think if parents and students are kind of on the fence, like just take that step and come out in person. If you're far away, it's just a beautiful area to visit in general, so you won't regret it in any case. But just come see the campus, see the beauty of the campus physically and geographically, but also just meet the professors. Have your children and your students be open with the professors and what they want and their desires, because the professors will know exactly, and the faculty and the staff will know exactly who they can connect to and stuff. And um obviously I'm biased, but I think it will really help them just to click and see like everything that we've been talking about tonight, about the community aspect, the service orientation, the academics. I think just being able to go in person and see that and feel that, it's more of a feeling, I would say, um, will just really help to solidify their desires, um, and just help them to really see everything that W&J has to offer. Despite being a smaller school, that's something that I'm still kind of surprised at of is the opportunities that it afforded me. Like I initially was supposed to go to a much bigger university and actually just changed my mind, I think like a month or two before I matriculated. And I was definitely hesitant about that. But looking back, there's no regrets. Like the connections I was able to make with professors, being able to be as close as I was with them would have never happened at a bigger university. And I can say that confidently, and that alone was a reason for me to go to W&J. So I would just say come experience it, just come meet people, get the vibe, and ask as many questions as you can. I think it'll definitely serve you well.
That's a great piece of advice. So with that, we have about a few minutes left here. I want to throw things open to our audience to see if they have any questions. We've had a bunch in the chat, and thank you, Dr. Felix and Carson, for answering the vast majority of those questions. But are there other questions that you'd like to ask? If you want to unmute if you want to ask, please put it in the chat, since I can't unmute everybody. And we'll go ahead and get those questions asked of our panelists. Although I think we've answered all the questions that popped up already. So I'll give it just another minute or two, 30 seconds. While we're waiting, I'm going to ask each of our panelists to think about their final answer to the question I'm about to ask. And that is, what is your favorite memory of W&J that you would like to share with us? I'm going to ask all 3 of those folks that question. Looks like we don't have any additional questions coming up in the chat, so we'll go ahead and do that right now. We'll start with Gage. Gage, what's your favorite memory of W&J?
Man, that's extremely difficult, but I would say, I think my favorite class I took at W&J was an English elective called like Nature and Literature, and it was definitely it was like a really nice breath of fresh air in terms of just having that experiences like in my interest in like hobbies in general, just like applying that to nature and just like seeing how passionate like the professor, Dr. Verdun, was about it was really cool to see. And also another another one that I think might be slightly better was finishing my psychology capstone. Like that is like, and that one was with Dr. Coyne, and it was very behavioral, like going through the IRBs and the essays and the presentations and the mock experiments and just seeing it all wrapped up in a bow, like presenting it on poster session was a very rewarding experience. And and it was like one big race to the finish line. And yeah, and I think that definitely was a good experience there. And yeah, I think I definitely look on that semester and project pretty fondly there.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. I hope you finished the race on your feet and in front.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
awesome, awesome. So Matthias, top that one. That's a good story. Top that one.
Well, so I had one, and then I feel like I have a better one, and then a better one. So I'm just going to share all three. So my first answer was just going to be studying in the ski lodge. The ski lodge is like this. I think it's beautiful. One of the areas on campus where you can just study. There's a fireplace. It's very cozy and homey. And so I have a ton of memories just sitting in like the big comfy like lounge chairs studying there. So that was my first one. But then I realized like Matthias, that's kind of boring. So I came up with a better one, and my better one is I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with like the Food Network, like the baking championship shows where you have to like decorate a cake. Anyway, W&J, I'm not sure if they still do, but they used to every year do like a version of like Chopped, the show, and then they also did a version of the Cake Wars. So one of my good friends, we were both first year student mentors. But anyway, we entered into this competition to decorate a cake for like in the Cake Wars style, and we just had like the best time. We got like the baker's hats, we got they provided all the equipment, and we definitely like kind of cheated a little because we used the baking staff a lot more than the other teams did, and so we won. But it was just like something that I feel like you would never get that at a big university, something that where you could sign up and just do that for fun, and people could vote on our cakes, and we did like an under the sea theme. It was amazing. And then my third story was senior year. I got to go to Disney for I know everyone's talking about the May term in the chat. Back then it was in January, so it was like a J term. But anyway, we got to watch all of the Star Wars movies and attend like an in-person typical lecture discussion style class for the first week. And then the second week, we actually got to go to Disney. And it was just an amazing time. My poor roommate got sick and couldn't go to all four parks, but I got to go to all four parks like day after day. And my friends and I just had like an amazing time. So again, it's a really special experience that I think sets W&J apart, being able to provide students fun academic opportunities that are fun, but also academic and learn. So yeah, I don't know if I can top Gage's story, but I think those were all really fun experiences. I never knew that I would have to tell someone like, oh sorry, I can't pick up an extra shift at my job. I have to go home and study. And that studying was watching a movie, was watching Star Wars. So yeah, I was definitely busy during that J term class, but it was so fun. And I used to never be a Star Wars person, but that class was just like amazing. So yeah, definitely amazing opportunities and experiences that W&J can provide.
That's
I
awesome.
just came up with a couple. Late night breakfasts that comms would have periodically throughout the year. Those are always fun. Those are always fun to be with the friends, and it's often like the faculty that actually prepare the food, and there's music, and it's usually a good time. It's more towards like the beginning and the ends of the semesters, and like that is it's a really good bonding experience that I always look forward to those every year.
That's awesome.
Okay, I just have to up Gage one more then. Two more. First of all, during Halloween they used to do trick or treating where we would go like to the different professors and stuff. So that was always fun. And then the last one that I'll say is around Halloween, Haunting of North Hall, where they would do like they would turn one of the old residence halls into like a haunted house. And I got to help with that one year. So sorry, I had to share those, but yeah.
I think those are all good memories. And I hope what everyone here is saying is that Washington Jefferson really is a place where you can learn, where you're really living in community with your peers, whether or not you're living here on campus or commuting in, and that you'll grow as a student and the professional that you're becoming. As a staff member, I appreciate the inside scoop for the free milkshakes on Thursdays. I try and pop by and hope that students will be kind to me because I'm not a student and give me a milkshake anyway. But most importantly, one of the newer traditions is Scholar Days. And Scholar Day is really a celebration of scholarship across the campus. Faculty, staff, and students participate. And within Scholar Day, what I love is the intern showcase. Granted, I'm biased because I do serve as the director of the Center for Professional Pathways, but there is something special about seeing students who thought, I can't possibly get that internship, who then report in the fall when they return from an experience or at the end of the semester that it was great and I learned a lot. It's usually some version of that quote. To seeing them talk about that internship in front of their poster for about 5 to 7 minutes, who they worked with, what they did, what they learned, and would they do it again, that is just so special. And so that is one of my favorite experiences that happens every fall and spring at the college.
That's a pretty awesome memory as well. And I have to ask, what's your favorite flavor of milkshake?
Cake batter, cookie butter, cake in my ice cream all day, every day. Ready.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Let's take a moment just to thank our panelists. I think they were wonderful tonight. They did an excellent job representing W&J and all that your student can look forward to should they join us. For the students who have not yet placed a deposit at W&J, we would certainly encourage you to do that. You can do that by visiting your W&J leadership portal at any time. I think we have a question here. Looks like somebody has their hand up. Before I wrap up too quickly, T, I see a hand up. I don't see Thomas. Is that the name? Thomas, let me unmute you if you want to ask your question out loud. Thomas, feel free to ask your question. Or Thomas maybe is good. Okay, sounds good. So again, if you haven't placed a deposit, you can do that through your leadership portal. If you're looking to get connected with W&J, to have that sort of aha moment, as Gage, Matthias, and Dr. Felix have all suggested, you come visit W&J to get that aha moment. The next moment for you to do that would be at our Admitted President's Day on Saturday, March 28th. We'd love for you to come join us for that day and meet more members of the W&J community and family and staff. We'd love for that to happen for you. If you're already deposited, you've got some big things coming up. Gateway, which is our online orientation tool, will open up in just a couple of weeks, and we'll have a W&J Gateway virtual night tutorial program on Thursday, March 5th at 7 p.m. It'll represent us just a little bit. We'll have some other staff members to walk your student and you through everything we expect you to complete as part of Gateway, as part of the online orientation program here at W&J. We're excited to have you join us at any one of these programs or to come to campus at any time. You're welcome for an individual visit whenever you're in the area, whenever you'd like to stop in and learn a little bit more about W&J. So again, with that, I want to wrap up the evening. Thank our panelists one more time, and thank you for joining us tonight. We hope to see you on campus soon and often. So take care, have a great night, and we'll see you soon.